Good evening, Timmys. When it comes to bullet types, velocity, damage, penetration, all of that good stuff in Exfilzone, it can get extremely complicated really quick. There's 5 different types of 5.56 alone, and for some calibers, there's even more. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as looking at the most expensive one or the highest damage one and going with that. There is so much more, but that's exactly what this video is for. Real quick, I just want to get a few things out of the way, and the first one is if you think that you are just locked on someone's head, somehow they won't die even though you're putting in 20, even 30 rounds of good ammo into them, the reason they aren't dying is because when you aim, your arms, specifically at your elbow points, kind of go upwards. It's sort of like Tabor, but honestly worse in this game. And bullets don't go through limbs. They don't really go through people, actually. So when you're shooting their arms, it's doing damage to their arms and not their head. And it takes a lot of bullets to kill someone on the arm. So I just wanted to let everyone know, when I'm shooting the dummies, it looks like they're going down very quick, but when you're in an actual raid, it's going to take at least twice as long because of this. Obviously, this doesn't change any stats, but it's extremely annoying when you keep hitting someone's head, but their elbow's in the way, even though it should be under their head. Second, I did not test every rig in the game. Obviously, there's like 100. I used, I think it was a level 5. It's the IMV something. It's the Metro Boss rig. I feel like everyone uses that, so I decided why not use that one. It's a decent rig and makes the most sense because why would I test this bullets against terrible rigs? And I did not use helmets to test this. I only used the rig. Now, as you're about to see, for some reason, people are using the best 5.56 gun with the worst 5.56 ammo. You're going to see why that is the dumbest decision in the game, because I'm pretty sure you can buy FMJ at level 1 trader. Maybe it's level 2. I don't know. But if you're using a really good gun, you might want to just double check the ammo you're using, because it literally could take you 3 magazines to kill someone with somewhat decent armor, even with the best 5.56 gun.
He also had it. Oh my god, what is he doing? Disappointment. Genuinely. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're using the worst bullet in the game with the best 5.56. Or best.
Now onto actual bullets, kind of, is firing power. Every gun has this, bullets don't, still matters. If a gun has good firing power, that's okay, but you really want to be aiming for superior, which the DDM4, aka like the tan one that I'm using. I know the Scar SSR has it. I don't think the Spear has it, but superior is what you want to be aiming for, because that's going to help a lot with penetration. We'll see that in a second. As you can see, the DDM4 was in the 4 to 5 bullet range to kill. I know we had a 6, but just ignore it. Usually it's 4 to 5. The Scar, however, was usually 1 bullet higher, more so in the 5 to 6, maybe even 7 range. Is this a massive, massive difference? No, but if you really want to have that extra time to kill, I would always be aiming for superior firepower. If you can't always get it, that's fine. Just know that it will usually end up causing you to kill someone quick. Also forgot to say this, sorry. I'm testing the thorax of the body, not the lower abdomen, because your thorax takes far less hits, and that's what matters. You want to be hitting head or thorax. Obviously, head's more important because it'll kill them quicker. But if you're hitting limbs or lower body, that's not good. It's going to take way, way more time to kill. Now onto the bullets themselves. We have a lot of stats to go over, way more than just penetration and damage. I'm comparing MK255 and AP, which is sort of like hollow point versus AP. So one does a lot more damage without armor, one does more damage with armor. First off, the easiest one, base damage. That's just how much damage you will do to the thorax without any armor. So AP does 39 and MK255 does 73. Next up, we have penetration power with AP being 5.8, which is extremely good. Usually you want to be aiming for at least 4. 3.8 isn't terrible, but obviously the higher you are, the more likely it is for your bullets to go through rigs. That is not 5.8%. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but 5.8 is extremely good. Now, armor damage penetration is how much your bullet will do if it goes through the armor. So obviously the armor is going to slow it down a little bit, meaning you're going to do a tiny bit less damage than the base damage. At least that's the case depending on the penetration power. So if you have very low penetration power, then odds are your other stats are not going to be very good. Here's what the 2 ammo types look like on people. So you can see that MK255 is a 2-shot versus a 3-shot with AP, but the second armor is thrown into the equation, well, decent armor is thrown into the equation, that's when MK255 just goes out the window. Armor damage blunt is kind of similar to armor damage penetration, except it's when the rig actually catches it, but it still hurts you a lot. Not as much as it going through, but that's what that stat means. Finally, now we're actually onto the bullets themselves. We have MK255. Never use this bullet, ever. I don't care if you found it in raid and you don't have any. Just throw your gun at them. You've got a better chance of killing them. I genuinely don't believe the fact that people use this bullet with even lower tier guns. 5.56, that is. It literally will not go through armor. Sure, it's got great base damage, and that's the only good thing about it. And I'm pretty sure that's what most people do. They see, oh my god, 73 base damage? That's insane. Yeah, well, if your eyes actually move a little bit, you'd see that it has basically 0 penetration and awful damage penetration. Now, the jump from MK255 to FMJ is actually kind of big. FMJ is not terrible. It's obviously not great. If you find it in raid, feel free to take it home. I really only recommend using this if you can't buy MK318, which is the next bullet. However, it's still worth using if you have to. It can penetrate a little bit. Doesn't have the best damage. Overall, it's kind of just mid. I mean, it's FMJ. You're not getting a whole lot out of it. But it's not as bad as MK255. Now, MK318 is where we get to the bullets that I actually still use a little bit. It's not bad. It's not great. It's 100% better than FMJ, and it's a good starting bullet if you're trying to go full kit. I believe it's arc level 3. It's 2 or 3. I can't really remember. But for 7,015, that's not terrible. If you're poor and you have really good guns, I would just use this bullet instead of M995, which is the next one. MK318 has 52 base damage, which that's not bad. 3.6 penetration power. Could be better. Again, I said 4 is kind of what you're aiming for. 3.6 for 5.56 isn't awful. Armor damage penetration isn't great. Neither is the damage blunt. But for 7,000, you're not getting a bad deal. It's still going to take a lot of upper thorax shots. However, if you can really lock on their head and avoid their elbows, it's great. The fact you can kill a trio with 1 drum magazine with it means that we're definitely moving in the right direction, obviously. However, if you're going extremely kitted, especially like suburbs or dam, the long range maps, you're going to want to start using higher calibers. I mean, not how I... Sorry. M995 and AP for the next one. M995. This is what I would like to call the best 5.56. Yes, AP is 1 tier above this, but I'm going to explain why I think M995 is better. 47 base damage and 4.6 penetration power. 4.6, spot on. That's not obviously the highest you can get, but 4.6 is still extremely good. Armor damage penetration, 27. Armor damage blunt, 33. Kind of weird that if the rig catches your bullet, it's doing more damage than going through. I don't really understand that, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. And 17,000 for 15 of these. That might seem expensive to y'all. I have 34 million in this game. I only play it maybe 2-3 hours a day, if that. It's not hard to make money in this game, unless you're new and VR just isn't the easiest thing for you. I can understand that, but money really doesn't matter to me in this game. So a $17,000 bullet for that is a steal. AP, you'll see why in a second. I think it's worse, and it's not really the cost. But this bullet is extremely good. Especially for long distance. I mean, it's got 980 muzzle velocity. That's great too. Everything about this bullet is amazing. 17,000. I know I keep saying that, but great deal. Great bullet. Lastly, we have AP. Now, AP is great for penetration. It's got 5.8, 38 armor damage penetration, and 35 damage blunt. All those great stats. 35. Wait, is that a 30? I think that's 39 base damage, actually. Not great. And I know a lot of people say that penetration is everything. In this game, it's not completely. 39 base damage isn't really that big of a difference compared to M995, but it still is. But the main takeaway for me not liking this is because it's hard drives to buy. Hard drives are not difficult to get. You could run one suburbs, go to mall. You could easily get 3 hard drives in one mall room alone. I did yesterday. It's not difficult. However, M993, which is 7.62x51, that's, I think, the best bullet in the game completely. Has like 6.8 penetration power. I'm not getting into that, but I would rather spend my hard drives on that bullet instead of 5.56 AP. Because realistically, I think AP is just kind of overkill. I mean, so is M993, which is different than M995. M995 is 5.56, M993 is 7.62. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is I save my hard drives for M993, not 5.56 AP. If you don't use 7.62x51, then you can completely disagree. You can say that AP is better than M995. That's fine. I think it's the other way around because you can just freely buy M995. If none of that made any sense, don't worry about it. Here's a little recap as what bullets do look like. The reason some of them went down in 3-ish shots is because that armor was almost broken. Obviously, it breaks over time, so it's 5-ish, 4 or 5. Again, going back to what I said, never use MK245. FMJ, use it if you have to. MK318 should be like your middle ground, where if you can't buy M995 or you're too poor, that's fine, run it. But you should definitely be using it over FMJ. I prefer M995 over AP because there's not even that much of a difference, and AP is harder to buy. I would spend your hard drives on different ammo, although that kind of depends on what gun you like more. If you like the SCAR more or the AR-308s more, again, I would save it. But if you like 5.56 more, go ahead and buy that AP. I hope this guide was helpful. It's a little bit hard to explain sometimes what bullets go where, but for the most part, you just want to follow the lead of how you unlock them. So you start at MK255, then it's FMJ. I don't know if FMJ and 318 are unlocked with the same trader. I think it is 2. I could be wrong on that. And then I know M995 is, I think, 3. I don't know, but just go in the order if you unlock it. AP, I know, is last, although I still don't even really use it. I would heavily encourage you just to roll with M995. However, if you really want that AP, go ahead. That's all you. If you made it this far, what's up? You're probably a returning fan. And I don't know if I'm going to continue or like pick up YouTube again. I know it's been like a month since my last upload. I don't really have an excuse other than I'm lazy. I haven't been playing video games as much because track just started up. Gotta get in on that. I got relationships. I got schoolwork. Literally everything else other than YouTube. And y'all know this ain't my first priority. I love doing it. I love streaming with y'all, but stuff gotta come first. I'll let everyone know in the Discord when I'm doing it. I'm hoping to make at least 1 or 2 more videos similarly. Probably one on 7.62x51. Maybe like an armor guide. I don't know. We'll see.